Hi everyone, just before we get into another episode of What a Load of Bowls, we just want to give a shout out to our partners, Newcastle Car and Truck Rental. Newcastle Car and Truck Rental are a locally owned company servicing Newcastle and the Hunter. Todd Holden and family pride themselves on being part of the local community, and you feel that when you step through their doors. It isn't a different person every time you call, it's the same people taking care of business and taking care of you. So next time you're in need of a rental, be it a truck to move, a ute for those everyday DIY jobs, or a car to get the family around on a day out, be sure to contact the team at Newcastle Car and Truck Rental by visiting www.newcastlerental.com or by calling 02 49 081 081. And don't forget to tell them DJ and Simon sent you. Here we go, folks. Episode 60 of the What a Load of Bowls podcast, the only Bowls podcast worth listening to on the internet. If you are returning, you're very welcome back. If you're new to us, you are very welcome. You're here with your hosts, DJ and Simon, passionate bowlers, coaches, and we are the team behind the Bowls Academy. Make sure you look it up on the internet. Each week, we dive into the game we love, from technique and training tips, club culture, player development, and interviews with some of the biggest names in the sport. Not to mention, we will talk about the odd topic that those people like to talk about around the clubs. Simon, welcome back for another week, buddy. How are you?
I am good. And just a bit of insight for our listeners. That intro took about 60 attempts for DJ to get it right. You know, the old, the reels that get edited. It was pretty long this week, but glad to have you back, DJ, on board. Must have been the high altitude that you just couldn't get that.
I think it's jet lag, but yeah.
Couldn't get that intro right, but you got there. But well done. Welcome back to Australia. Can't believe they let you back in. You must have slipped a few dollars to border force to get back in.
Man, I tell you what, it's pretty darn easy now with all these new electronic gates, the automated gates. Like we flew out on the Monday and did not talk to a customs agent until we got back to Sydney on the following Monday, where they said, please go to this little portal. That was it. Unbelievable. So easy. Now scan your passport, walk through, get your photo taken, away you go. I'm sure that'll be random. I'm sure it's like the self-serve at Woolies and Coles where there's a random, right, we'll pull you aside and have a look or whatever, but so easy, mate. But yeah, good trip over to KL. Mate, that's what we call Kuala Lumpur when you've been there. You haven't been blessed enough to do that yet, mate, so you stick to Kuala Lumpur. But yeah, it was a good week. Yeah, over there for the Bowls World Cup, like we all know. Last episode we had Brett and Neil on discussing everything that was World Bowls and the Bowls World Cup. So it was good to be there, mate. I have to give a lot of credit to the Malaysian Bowls Federation. They put on a great display, so they did. The players didn't really want for anything. They were there for them all the time. The amount of volunteers they had around the outside, the marketing they had. The biggest thing for me, and anyone that's listened back to the commentary, you've probably heard me say this a couple of times, but we've got into Kuala Lumpur Airport at about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Driving in through the city, we got about an hour trip to the hotel. They love a billboard over there, I'll tell you that. But one of those electronic video billboards was advertising the Bowls World Cup.
No way.
This thing's a monster right in the middle of Kuala Lumpur advertising it. Taxi drivers knew it was on. Yeah. Yeah. You rock up to the venue and there's army guards out the front not letting you drive in. You had to get dropped at the door, walk in with your passes and everything. They put on they left no stone unturned. And yeah, they put on a really, really good show off the green. So they're so superb. It was very good cultural experience.
Very good. Well, yeah, I think that's what Brett alluded to in our last episode, that the Malaysians are really going all out with this tournament because they hadn't held anything since Commonwealth Games way back in the late 90s, I think you said. So
1998, yeah.
Yeah, so they definitely seems like they went all out, and you know, it was good that they got it in their media and got it out there that the competition was happening and sort of got bowls at the forefront. So you were there for a few days, DJ, and you managed to get yourself a commentary gig. You managed to weasel your way into the microphone and a few games, a few players. How did that go?
You know what it's like, man. It's hard to keep a good man down. As soon as Barry seen me in the stands, I was like, mate, let's go. Me and you, where we go, you know. But no, it was good experience, man. I thought we did quite well. Good to meet the guys from New Zealand that were doing the production. So it was Alex, Colin, and Jack. They were super. So poor Jack just stood on the camera all day listening to us. spinning around. Colin on the side doing some of the switching and things we got there. And then, Alex was chatting away, switching, coming up with all the facts. It was good. And I'll tell you what, mate, this schedule was unbelievable. Like we thought it was going to be a jam-packed calendar when we looked at it the other week, previewed it. Mate, the players were there from 8 o'clock in the morning. And the very first night, they weren't back at the hotel. I remember me and Ian were leaving the hotel at about, it would have been 7 o'clock, I think. Yeah. To go out for dinner. And they're only just coming back. Right? And that's not even counting like the Thursday night where you had the exhibition game for Bulls for Brisbane, which didn't finish until nearly 10 o'clock. And some of them players were there from 8 o'clock in the morning. Oof. There wasn't a lot of flexibility time for the players. They got sessions off here or there. Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely an experience for some of them and some of the power athletes as well. Experiencing that heat for the first time, like it was beautiful in the commentary box when you're in the air conditioned hall with the portable rinks, but the outdoor rink that they had, it was a tricky rink to play on, tricky green to play on as is, but just the humidity and everything made like people. I'd say there was a record sales on bowls cloths. There was, it was good, mate. Good to see some of the best around. Good to see some emerging talent as well. Mate, look, got to be biased, but I got to give a shout out to the Irish team. Yeah, especially the two girls, Chloe and Lara. I mean, I was very impressed with just how they carried themselves, but how they played as well. Nice. We'll talk about the results later on, but young Chloe actually got a win in the last game of the section over the eventual winner. Yeah. And the girls went down in a very narrow game in the semi-final. So they did as well. Like they played absolutely super, played above their years. Lara is just chilled. She was the youngest player in the competition, 21 years of age. She's about to go out and play a do-or-die pairs game against England, which doesn't necessarily get them straight over the line because they had to wait for a result over with Scotland against Australia. Needed Australia to do them a favour. You've walked in there, and she just lay at the back of the rink nearly asleep. I'm just like, I just walked past it. That is chilled right there. That was chill. But, mate, they done super. And then I promise as well, I'll give a shout out to the women's para from Ireland as well, Linda Walsh. Now, I had a very good chat with Ian McClure about the para setup. He's heavily involved in the para setup at home, and they've only got the two women para athletes at the minute. Really? Now, Linda's been playing for 2 or 3 years, but she's only been able to play for 1 year actually competitively in a club. She had her director out there with her, but he's not with her full time. He's from Port Rush. She plays down at the Grove. So as you know, to give everyone an idea, it's about 90 minutes apart. And he plays himself. So they don't have full-time directors at the minute Linda is visually impaired. I can't remember the exact classification, but basically she can't see up the other end of the green. Very limited sight. But for her to gain that experience and to come out there, absolutely super. Yeah. So it was, and she did struggle the first day just with that heat. She'd never experienced anything like that. Yeah, I think she maybe played 4 out of the 5 sessions between the mixed pairs and the women's singles. So that was an experience. But yeah, big shout out. She did very well. Great experience for them and great to push them through. But it's just great to see Irish Bulls have actually backed these young girls and invested in them and send them away to these things. We got the world bronze medal there 2 years ago on the Gold Coast. We said last week too about the men's selections, like Adam McKeown, world pairs champion. Gary was left out and young Ryan McElroy was given a go. Ryan was super. He played really, really well. He was so close to qualifying out of a section of the singles too. It was actually a bit heartbreaking that he didn't because he had a good win over Corey Wedlock on the TV ring. So yeah, it was good for them. But yeah, good to catch up with all them as well, actually. Sitting there. We had the Hall of Fame dinner on Saturday night, which we'll talk more about later, but sitting there for 2 or 3 hours afterwards, just reminiscing with Ian McClure about what's going on back at home and stuff. It was good. So it was. And then Ian got fed up because he couldn't understand me anymore. The accent got too broad. So off he went. But yeah, it was a good trip, that, man. And yeah, just the way the Malaysians put it on, they got behind their own. It was incredible. So it was, they got behind their own. Every time they progressed, there was just, yeah, when you got to the latter stages, both sides of the stadium were filled up. So they were.
I was going to ask you, was there many there watching? Like, what kind of the spectators? Like, numbers?
It was like your standard one. I nearly texted you on the first day and said, "This is a little bit like Potters." I very nearly did, but you came in the next day, and the music, there was a bit of background music now, which just makes the world of difference.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
Unfortunately, there was only about 5 songs on replay, and you were there, like I said, from 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock. Poor Alex in the commentary, mate, he was putting his head away. And I don't know who came up with it, but there was an AI song generated for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very good when you first hear it. When you hear it 17 times a day, it's a little bit different. So it is. But all credit. Like, they tried. And when the Malaysians started to get on the portables and on the TVs, that's when you start to get them in. The exhibition game on the Thursday night, Malaysia versus the rest of the world, was packed. So it was good to see a great crowd in for that there. And then, the latter stages, when we talk about the Malaysians that played in the semi-finals and the finals, and they brought their own Astro TV, which is their version of Fox. Mm-hmm. Mate, it was packed, and they were loud. So they were as well. Not a big fan of clapping when the opposition misses. And there was a lot of that, but my goodness, they were getting behind their own. So they were.
So a bit of bowls etiquette needed, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a dust up if I had to be fussy, but they were passionate, mate. So you sort of let them win. But yeah, I don't like when someone has There was an example in one game where one of the gentlemen's had a run when he was 1 down. He's picked his own bowl out and lost to 3, which may have tied the setup.
Yeah,
and you would think that the Malaysian had played it. It was the way they went up. So that's pretty tough. But mate, nothing compared to Bethpage Black in the Ryder Cup. Don't get me wrong. That's the benchmark, and they didn't come anywhere near that.
Yeah,
so they didn't. But I suppose it's a cultural thing too. But no, it was a good event, mate. And I said getting that opportunity to do a few games on the commentary with Barry and Alex was very, very good. Enjoyed that, and got a bit of sightseeing on one of the days too. We headed up to the Genting Highlands, Skyworld up there. The largest hotel in the world in terms of the amount of rooms, over 7,000 hotel rooms.
What? 7,000 rooms?
7,000 hotel rooms. They held the world record when it opened back in the early 2000s. It was taken away from them by one of the Vegas hotels in the mid-2010s. And then they went, stuff ya, we're going to build another tower and we're going to get it back. But, mate, you're up in the clouds. You're 1,800 meters from ground. Right. We got there about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. The clouds are still parting. Like, you couldn't see buildings that were 20 meters in front of you. And then when they parted, you realize they're 3 miles in the air. So they're so tall. But, yeah, you just wouldn't think. And then, to give you an example, you've driven up Macquarie Pass, yeah?
Yeah.
Down in the OR. This was the Macquarie Pass on steroids, getting up there and then down again. So it was. But, big theme park, big indoor theme park, massive shopping centre that was just big screens all over it. It was class looking. Then we got the cable car down into the outlet stores. So that was a good experience too. Interesting drivers on the road, I'll say.
There's a few crazy ones, was there?
The taxi drivers were interested. But it was a good trip all around.
Okay, so now that you're signed up for Tourist Malaysia, you're one of their reps to push KL.
You can't say that. You haven't been there, mate. It's KL if you've been there. It's Kuala Lumpur to you.
Kuala Lumpur. Okay, sorry. Yeah. But we'll enlighten the listeners. Not all was rosy on your trip. You did have a little bit of a kerfuffle on the way home, and you must have had too many Pepsi Max, because what happened to you on the way home out?
We got called to the gate, and I had the precautionary wee in case we got caught in the lineup. So I thought, there's a toilet there on the way. I'll just duck in. It'll be all good. And I didn't run. I was just walking in, and there was a little gentleman in there mopping the floor. I was a little bit too wet, and I went down like a sack of spuds. And right on my elbow. And I got up, and the thing wouldn't move. It was stuck at 90 degrees. I couldn't straighten it. I'm just like, this is unbelievable. This is just typical. I'm about to get on a plane home. I've gone out, and Ian's like, you going to report it? And I'm not reporting it. I'm getting on my plane. I'm going home. So luckily enough, you were able to do a few text messages in the air. I've messaged Yana and said, look, I'm 90% this is muscular. I says, but you may need to book me in for an x-ray tomorrow morning. So
oh dear.
All clear, just badly swollen. Like it was like a football, so it was. Interesting plane trip home. But yes, that was after having such a good week. I'm like, you're just typical you, DJ. Just typical you. Something stupid like that. But yeah, all good in the end, mate. All good in the end.
Okay, so you made it back safe and sound to the Australian soil. And while you were away, there was one other big announcement, wasn't there? Something that we sort of alluded to over the last couple of episodes.
Yes, a unanimous vote was held at the Bowls New South Wales AGM amongst the 34 representative clubs that showed up out of the 600 odd. And I am now officially a board of director at Bowls New South Wales.
Oy.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
We'll see.
Have you had any meetings yet?
Yeah, well, we had one straight after the AGM. Had to like a few committees and stuff out there, but like I'm just gonna get my feet under the table. Obviously, too. I've got to go down, do an induction with Tim and the president, and yeah, we'll just see how we go from there. Signed all my confidentiality stuff, mate, so I'll not be looking at any secrets on the podcast. So yeah, now looking forward to it, mate. New challenge. Had a lot of positive feedback from it.
I did see a lot of positive comments on their Facebook post, so that was good.
I had a few silly phone calls too, but we'll stay away from that. But yeah, I'm not too sure where the problems lie within the sport, to be honest. But yeah, we'll try and see what we can do over the next 3-year term anyway, and see how we go from there. But yeah, interesting week. It's been an interesting
most definitely. So thanks for enlightening us and all that, and yeah, giving us a bit of a rundown of your last week or so.
So we'll get into the World Cup. That's what people want to hear about anyway, mate. So we'll get into the results and stuff. So for those that didn't tune in last time, maybe new to it, the World Cup was held in Malaysia between the top 12 nations as per the last World Bowls. They said men's pairs, women's pairs, and para mixed pairs. And then everyone played in their own singles event as well. So there were 7 gold medals up for grabs. And in the end, the country with the most points was going to be crowned World Cup winner. All right. So we'll start para mixed pairs. We'll not do all of it. So we'll not look at the group stages and that. But the qualifiers through the group stages for the para mixed pairs was England and Scotland, and they faced off in one semi, and New Zealand against Australia. So you had a Northern Hemisphere semi against a Southern Hemisphere semi. Both games finished in straight sets win, and it was for 2-0 to Scotland over England and 2-0 to Australia over New Zealand. So they then faced off in the final. So there you have Scotland, the Scotland team of Gary Brown and Pauline Wilson up against the Australian team of James Reynolds and Serena Bonnell. And they were too strong on the day, the Aussies, and they came out 2-0 winners. Gary had to wait a lot of time to play his last couple of bowls because the women's singles game, which we'll get to in a minute, was finishing up. And there was a bit of noise and a bit of action going on. So Gary held his nerve pretty well. He wasn't too far away. He almost converted to try and force a tiebreak out of it. It just wasn't to be, but yeah, congratulations to James and Serena. On to the women's pairs. Mm-hmm. Semi-final lineup, we already talked about one of them, was New Zealand against Ireland. Ireland sneaking through with a last 2-0 victory over England, and Australia knocking Scotland out then on a tiebreak. But it wasn't to be for Ireland this time. It was 2-0, but only 2 shots in the whole game, or 3 shots in the whole game in that one. And the other one then was Hong Kong, China up against the very fancy team of Canada in Emma Boyd and
Kelly
McCarran.
Mm-hmm.
Hong Kong, China come away 2-0 victors there.
Yeah, surprising that one.
Brings us into the final there. So I had said New Zealand were probably heavy favourites for that one.
Yeah.
The New Zealand team made up of Caitlin Lynch and Selena Goddard. And they came up against Cheryl Chan and Helen Chung, who have played a lot together, playing a lot of the world events together. So they know each other's game. And this time around, it was their day with a 2-0 victory over New Zealand. And there wasn't too many gold medals celebrated more than that, unless you were Malaysian.
Yeah.
But the girls were very passionate about that, very emotional about that. Barry tried to grab an interview with them after the game, and it was hard to do anyway with the language barrier. But the girls were very, very emotional. That meant a lot to them. That meant a lot to Hong Kong, China. So well done to them. That was great to see. So in the men's pair semi-finals, we had Wales up against Hong Kong, China, and we had Scotland up against Ireland. Wales come away 2-0 victors over Hong Kong, China. Scotland and Ireland, the team of Paul Foster and Jason Banks up against Adam McCone and Ryan McElroy, went to the tiebreaker. Last bowl of tiebreaker, Paul Foster plays a bomb to win it and take them through to the final.
Yep.
Where it went to a tiebreak again.
Yeah.
Welsh team against the Scotland team, and it was the Welsh team with an absolute bomb from Ross Owen. So it was to put the jack in the ditch and hold a 2. And then Foster had a chance to reply, but it was just, mate, it would have been an ultimate shot if he had got that. So well done to Ross Owen and Daniel Davies Jr. and winning the men's pairs as well. So we've got a gold for Hong Kong, we got a gold for Australia, and we got a gold for Wales now. Moving on to the singles then, mate. Para women's singles up first. Semi-finalists, Terry Blackburn of New Zealand against Uriah Zakaria of Malaysia. And then in the other one was Sally-Anne Lewis Wall from England against Pauline Wilson of Scotland. Terry Blackburn, 2-0 victor there. I mean, she was on fire. She really was. And she was up against, like I said, a bit of a partisan crowd there with the Malaysians. They had packed in for the finals day. Terry in the game, we commentated on her previous game the day before against the Welsh lady. She was superb. I mean, she's so good. Suffers from rheumatoid arthritis. So her body just affects her in different ways throughout the day. Like Alex was telling me, he grew up with her. He said she's got to change grips now and again and things like that there. But
I know.
Yeah. She was superb. But she came on that game straight after the women's pairs, which was a fantastic game between England and Ireland. I mean, she wouldn't have looked out of place in that game. She got up 2-0 to get herself into the final. And then the English lady, Sally-Anne Lewis Wall, she made it into the final as well with a 2-0 victory over Scotland. And it was Sally-Anne who was the victor on this occasion, giving a gold medal to England with a 2-0 win over Terry Blackburn from New Zealand. Para men's, Hong Kong, China made it through with Wei Sum Tong. He came up against the Indian para of Utpal Basamarati. All right. And in the other game then, South Africa's Jared James came up against Australia's James Reynolds. It was a 2-0 win for India over Hong Kong, China. It was a 2-0 win for Australia over South Africa. And we go to the final, and James Reynolds was just too much, mate. So 2 gold medals for James Reynolds. And with that, he was voted MVP of the whole thing, the whole World Cup. So well done to James Reynolds.
And I think too, I seen that somebody's nicknamed Jimmy 2 Goals Reynolds.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, very good. Now he's been around for a long time. He's done a lot for Australia. It's good to see him getting that recognition at this level. But yeah, he got MVP of the whole World Cup. Wasn't just of the power section; it was the whole World Cup with his 2 gold medals. So well done to Jimmy. Well done to Australia there. Okay, and then we move on to the men's singles. So we do semi-final lineup of Sam Tolchard against Corey Wedlock, and Sam Tolchard of England against Corey Wedlock of Australia. And Dinesh Kumar of India up against the very fancied Izzat Jislanti. I've really struggled with that surname. Sorry, Izzat. We just got to call him Izzat. And that game, both those games, mate, we were commentating on Sam against Corey.
Yeah.
And what a game that was. But on the other rink then, you've got Dinesh up against Malaysia, and that was a loud crowd. All right, so we'll get to that one in a second. So Sam versus Corey, it was 1 set and a tied set in that semi-final. Sam took the first set 8-3. So Corey scored a 3 on the first end and didn't score again. They didn't play the last end of that, so 8-3. Then we get into the second set. Now, what a set this was. Sam went off to a 4-1 or 4-0 lead after 2 ends, after just winning the first set. Corey's then picked up a 4.
Oh!
He's then picked up a 2 to go 6-4 in front. Dropped a 1 to go 6-5 in front. Picked up a 2 to go 8-5 in front, playing the last end of the set.
No way.
He puts his first ball no more than 10 inches from the jack.
Yeah.
Has 4 balls inside a foot.
He lost a 3.
Loses a 3 to tie the set.
Oh.
Sam had just gone a little bit AWOL, but not by much, because it was a really high standard of game. But then he just put 3 on a dinner plate. It was incredible, mate. All 7 balls that were played, because Sam didn't need to play his last one. All 7 balls that were played, as I said, you could have put them on a dinner plate. It was incredible. And we're just sitting there gobsmacked in the commentary. But as that's finishing, like I said, the other game went the same way with a 1-set draw. In set 1, Izzat's taking a 2 on the final end to tie the set. And the Malaysia crowd's gone mad.
Gone ballistic.
Gone ballistic, mate. It was unbelievable. They have gone absolutely mad. Then we move into the second set. He opens up with that 3, which I talked about earlier in the show. Dinesh has had a bit of a runner, which he's known for. He plays those little sort of pokey runner, swingers type things, and plays them pretty well. 1 down, had a run, flicked his own out. Other one went out of the head like he didn't think it could. Crowd goes up wild. He gets a 3. Is that? He then backs it up with a 1 and backs it up with a 2. So he's got a 6-0 lead. So he has in the second set, having just tied the first one. But Dinesh comes back with a 2-2-1-2. 2-2-1-2 to win that set and win the game. Now, the last end, my goodness, I think when it comes to calm games, it's going to have shot clock. And I think they would have filled the shot clock about 17 times on this one, but you could just tell the tension. It was nervy, and I think it just got the better of his ad in the end. And he didn't. He had a little bit of room to try and cut down. He just needed to get second shot. That would have been enough for him. Yeah, but he couldn't get it. And Dinesh then made it through to the final off that. But Dinesh celebrated with his Indian teammates as if he won. There was tears, there was poses for photographs with the Indian flag, and fantastic, great achievement making that far. But I was just worried that he maybe used up too much of that emotional energy before playing the final against Sam, because Sam ran out 2-0 winners with a 7-2 win in set 1 and a 7-1 win in set 2. Now Dinesh wasn't far away, but Sam it got his draw game going, man. He just played really, really well. So that was a gold medal to Sam Tultrout in England in that one. And then finally, we're on to the women's. Now, Malaysia had 2 get through in this one. And the minute that happened, all right, now the Sultan was already coming to go to the dinner, right? But the Sultan we were told the Sultan then jumped on a plane from London because he wanted to be there for the final of the women's.
No way.
I swear, that's what we were told in the commentary box. He's on his way. So we had Sultan Watch happening. Yeah, on the Friday night, mate, they brought in the throne and they put it up there. They brought in all these decorative plants to sit in the VIP area, mate. They got right behind it. So they did.
Are you sure that wasn't Baz's commentary chair? No?
No, it wasn't Baz's commentary chair. No, it wasn't. Poor Baz. No, he had a week and a half old Baz, so he did. So semi-finalists of the women's singles. Malaysia, like I said, got two through. So Malaysia number 2 was Nural Jamil. She came up against Catherine Redknapp from England, who had not lost a game, went through the whole group stages undefeated. And then the other semi-final was Dawn Heyman of Australia up against Emma Siraji. Dawn, we know from this show what she can do. Emma, very well decorated athlete. She's got gold at Commonwealth Games pairs. She's silver in Commonwealth Games fours. She's won the World Champions and a silver medal there previously too. She's the bronze medal in the World Cup. World Indoors bronze medal and just recently of an Aberdeen at the start of the year. So she's in fine form. She knows what she's doing. Probably the second woman behind Siti Zelina Ahmed in Malaysia. So Catherine, 2-0. She blew them away. She was just too good on the day, man. She's won that 6-3, 5-3. Mm-hmm. She would made some of her sectional games sensational, but I mean she's won the world match play 6 times, so she knows what she's doing. And then Dawn against Emma went right down to the last end of the tiebreak, and Emma played an absolute cracker to come off a ball, sit the jack, get the win, and the crowd went mad again, and we got the Malaysian into the final. So that left us with Catherine Redknapp undefeated playing against Emma Siraji in the final. How did that one go? 5-5 in the first set, with Emma playing a bomb to draw the shot to actually get the tiebreak, to tie the set. Yeah. And then we go into set 2, and it's 6-5 to Emma. Catherine just missed with her last, and the crowd go mad again. 6-5, one shot in it over the whole course of the game, and yeah, that was a celebration and a half with Malaysian getting their gold medal. So it was. So well done to Emma Siraji, well done to Malaysia. But like I said, that wasn't it finished, mate. It then comes down to the overall points. So there was points for every discipline where everyone finished. We'll go top 3. In third place, Hong Kong, China, with 105 points. They were only 1 point ahead of England. Second place then with 6 points more was Australia. Mm-hmm. Thanks to Jimmy Reynolds.
Jimmy, 2 goals. Well done.
Jimmy, 2 goals. Dragged him up there. His 2 goals garnered 24 points just on their own. Finally, then 6 points ahead again, it was the home nation of Malaysia taking out the World Cup. And with the amount of passion they showed for the event, I think they deserved it, and it was good. It was a fitting finish to a very, very good competition.
Very good, very good. Well, it's nice to hear that some of the smaller, I mean, in quotes, smaller nations getting up there and competing and actually beating the bigger nations of our sport. And it's good to see that the likes of India and Malaysia, they're competing at the highest level. And that's what we want we don't want sort of just Australia, New Zealand, England, Scotland winning everything year in, year out. That gets pretty boring, repetitive. We want to see competitive games, the best bowls being played, and we want more nations competing at that level. So it's great to see that those smaller nations are definitely must be doing something right in terms of their grassroots, their development. Obviously, looking over the shoulder of what Australia has maybe done in the past or currently doing, and they're stepping it up to that higher level. So great to see.
Mate, Malaysia have definitely bought into it ever since the Commonwealth Games in 1998. So they sent a bit of a demo team sort of to 1994. So they did, just because they knew they were getting 1998 and they wanted to get a team in all the sports. 1998, they really went into it. Then they started producing the likes of Cities Arena, like we talked about. Safwan Saeed, who can't be forgotten as well in the men's. He was world number one for a long time, had a lot of battles with Leif Selby. And now that, like I said, Emma Siraji, man, her CV is fantastic. Like, she's not new to the game. She's born in 1986, which is our age. I mean, she's got medals galore, so they do know what they're doing. India as well, off the back of 2010 in Delhi. Like, they had a Commonwealth Games gold as well recently too. So they know what they're doing. They're building high. Man, I have to say, I'll put my neck on the line here. I just felt at the event, it meant a lot more to those nations than maybe some of the higher ones.
Okay.
Just from a feeling of being there. Like, World Championships and Commonwealth Games are your pinnacles. This is the first time the World Cup was held. Nobody really knew what to expect. Some of the teams were red hot. Some of the teams you felt were a little bit experimental. All right, just from our opinions. And it just felt like it meant a lot more to them. Now, we'll get onto the portable rings too. I mean, I thought they were brilliant. I really do thought they were good. Now, the one we commentated on, because we had to move for the final, because like I said, Astro TV came in, so we moved on to the other portable. So it was two portable greens, each had 2 rings.
Okay.
All right. So we had to move on to the second portable. And if you watch the game of Corey against Sam, Corey misses 3 swingers that Corey doesn't miss, and he misses them all on the one end. It really stood up. But Corey didn't have the confidence that if he threw it in, it was going to cut away on him. So that was probably the only thing. The first one, you could play every shot on it. It was brilliant. So all credit to Sports Build who put them down. They did a really good show. Malaysia had them down there for 3 weeks, and from what we gathered, they peppered it.
They were definitely practicing on them. Yeah,
they put the yards in on it, so they did, and they're going to keep it down. From what we were hearing, I can't confirm it, but from what we were hearing, they're going to stay down all but till June of next year, and then they're going to be packed up and transported to Glasgow. So that'll be the rings and the greens that they play on when it comes to Glasgow in 2026. And then to look at some of the other nations, in particular the one we live in, them guys and girls have been playing 5-6 weeks solid. You know, they had to fly to Scotland and play in the Test series. Every single one of them was over there. So they were. Then they've come back. They've maybe had a week off. Then they've had BPL. Not to mention regional championships and all the tournaments that they've all played in that time too. Then they're straight on the plane from BPL and they're out to that World Cup. And then per wedlock, we're straight off there on down to Mohammed Pairs. So it's a lot of bowls to be had. But look, it is what it is. You got to put it on when you can put it on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you just sort of felt it meant a little bit more to some of those nations. That's just my observation. I could be wrong. Don't get me wrong. But just sort of felt, and it was good to see that. Like the most emotional one outside of the Malaysian one was definitely the Hong Kong China girls in the pairs. Like that meant so much to them. So it did. And you could see Selena and Caitlin were disappointed, but I don't think they were disappointed as what they would have been had they lost a World Championship final.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Like everyone wants to win. They're top competitors. That's why they're there. So that would be the only thing I'd say about it. It's definitely in its infancy. There's a lot of learning things from it. Like I said, there were long days. So they were in that heat. It was long days for everyone. So what it looks like in the future, we don't know. The main reason I went to Malaysia this year was to get those portables in there. They had a facility, which was the netball facility in 1998 Commonwealth Games, I believe is what we were in. They got what they wanted out of it. We know the portables work, you know, and they're playable. They do the job. They can be put down, and you don't have to worry about them. And we're going to get the best of the best playing on them when it comes to Glasgow in 10 months' time. There's nothing better than a club that's alive with the buzz of bowls being rolled and members catching up under the canopy. A Mac structure keeps the greens busy and the club buzzing all year round. For a busy club and busy greens, make it a Mac-Max. One of my favourite parts of the trip, though, was definitely then the Hall of Fame. So World Bowls launched their Hall of Fame, so they did while we were over there. And again, mate, that was a cultural experience from the Malaysians. The Sultan was there in presence again. I think there was 340 people in attendance.
Did you sign a bowls class for him?
I didn't get the time. All the time. There was too many people bowing to him, and like I said, there was 340 in attendance, and there was another 300 bodyguards there too. So it was really felt like it, you know. But yeah, that was a great night. So it was, and we had a lot of young Malaysian kids come out and do some of their cultural dances and things on 3 different occasions throughout the course of the night. It was brilliant, and then we honoured some of the legends of the game. So there was 31, I think, inducted in the end.
Okay.
So what was I'll rattle through them here quickly, mate, because I've got my program. I couldn't quite get them all signed. Unfortunately, not everyone could be there, but the vast majority did. I'll give you a rundown anyway. So Tony Alcock was inducted. He couldn't make it. Siti Zelina Ahmed from Malaysia, biggest cheer of the night. She was there. Ryan Bester was there. Peter Bellis made the trip over from New Zealand, which was great to see. Absolute legend in the game. Sticking with New Zealand, Rowan Brassey get in there too. Rowan wasn't able to make it. The main man, David Bryant, greatest of all time, as elected on our podcast.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to argue with that one either. Unfortunately, couldn't be there. Darren Burnett of Scotland couldn't be there. Mark Casey, not only could he be there, he was lucky enough to sit at my table for dinner.
No, he had to put up with you.
He didn't have to put up with me. He was at the other side and I left him alone, but I did pester him in the end. Mate, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get him on the next episode. So we will, leading into the UBC. Lindsay Clark from Australia, unfortunately, again, couldn't make it. Richard Corsi from Scotland couldn't make it. Kelsey was there too, and again, blessed by my presence at the table. Joe Edwards, not able to make it. Ellen Falkner didn't make it. Paul Foster was there, so he made it in. Jeremy was there. Jeremy Henry. Margaret Johnson. Mate, this was a bit of a disappointing one. Margaret was all set to come.
Yeah.
And the Sunday before broke her ankle.
No.
I know. She was devastated, but her daughter came out.
Okay.
Which I was very happy with because I played a lot of bowls with her son, Billy.
Yeah.
And that would have been a nightmare. I said to her, we bumped in. She had just heard me talking at the hotel.
Yeah.
So, oh, excuse me, where are you from? We'd never met before. She didn't play. I just says, oh, this is Aunt Billy's sister. So I played a lot of bowls with Billy. I'm glad she sent you and not him. And she says, oh, I'm sure there's one reason why she didn't send Billy. So I'm sure there's more than one. Moving on. Rexy Johnson, he made it over as well. We had a bit of time with Rex while we were there. Margaret Leatham from Scotland couldn't be there. Alex Marshall, unfortunately, didn't make it. Karen Murphy was there with the Australian Jackaroos as assistant coach. She made it. Amy Farrow, unfortunately, couldn't be there. Dorothy Roach from Australia. Aaron Sheriff, he was there and lucky enough to sit at my table too. Sharon Sims of New Zealand couldn't make it. Lorna Trigwell, she played for both South Africa and Scotland. If you remember when we went back to our greatest of all time, she couldn't make it. Val Smith didn't make it. Rebecca Van Ash did make it over. So it was good to see back there. Natasha Van Eldik had other commitments. She couldn't make it. Robert Whale, blessed to share a taxi with me on the first day. and he's locked in, mate. He's coming on. We just have to get a time that suits him with the UK. He's coming on to have a chat with us. He was very responsive to our greatest of all time last time, and he's the only Welsh player in the whole Hall of Fame. So well done to Robert Whale. Brett Wilkie of Australia not only sat at the table, mate, got to sit beside me for the whole night. So he was very
poor fella.
Mate, it's going well for him at the championship. You just go and have a look now at the nationals. So you can't.
Did you give him tips? Were you giving him tips?
Oh, didn't need to, mate. It was just my calming presence. I think it's worked wonders. And finally, last but certainly not least, all the way from Scotland, Willie Wood, MBE. Unfortunately, couldn't make it on the night, but great to see all those legends of our game inducted into the Hall of Fame. And like I said, super night. They all got given a little trophy to start with. Then they got called up individually, and they were given a little custom-made World Bowls brooch.
Nice.
That I'll have to get a photograph and show you sometime, mate. It's absolutely super. They've pulled out all the stops for this launch of the Hall of Fame. Great night. Just to have nearly 400 people there was super, mate. Like, it gave a really good atmosphere. Everyone appreciated it, so they did.
Nice. Well, yeah, it was good that you could be there and enlighten us on what went on. And yeah, your name dropping there, obviously big time, but
I'm reading off a program. It's the Hall of Fame. You can't help but name drop.
Well, I'm glad you were there, and hopefully we'll get some good.
You weren't.
interviews out of it, and we'll get some of those guys on that you obviously sat around a table with, and they had to listen to your dribble. So we'll get them on.
It was good. It was good to chat to some of them. Some of them are pretty excited to come back to the World Bowl Series later in the year, which, fingers crossed, me and Neil's had another chat. I might be commentating that one too with Barry. One person I was really impressed with, and she skipped in the exhibition game for the rest of the world. That was Emily Kernick from England.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely girl, mate. Very grounded, very down to earth, very motivated. She knows what she wants to get out of all this, so she does, and she's gearing towards the Com Games next year. Love to see her make it just from sitting there chatting to her. She was a lovely girl, mate. And then Ryan McElroy really impressed me too. So he did. Like I said, look, we weren't being critical last week of his selection. It was just a case of you looked at some of the other teams, and why wouldn't you send Gary Kelly there? Maybe they're looking at it down the track that maybe Gary's not going to play pairs, he's going to play singles. Maybe he's going to play both. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see when the selections come out, which from speaking to some of the nations, we should start to see that early in the new year, probably in and around Potters, and based how the results of Potters go. Speaking of which, that's where Ali's going, isn't he?
He is indeed, yeah. Hopefully we can
that's what Ali's aiming for.
Keep tuned in to how he goes over there. His first time of him going to Potters, so
yeah. And he said, he came on and told us that on the podcast. He said, that was my goal. Off he went to West Australia. He qualified. He's gone there. He wants to make the Commonwealth Games. I think he's got a good chance too. I think the boys from New Zealand did okay.
Yeah.
But they didn't strike any fear in anyone like Shannon McElroy and Ollie Forsyth do. So
that'll be interesting from a Kiwi point of view. Like, who will they pick for Commonwealth Games? Like, there's been a few tournaments where Shannon and Ali have been sort of sidelined on a few of these sort of major event kind of things recently. So it's interesting from a selection point of view that they have sidelined those very experienced and medalled players, that they've went with other options and the likes of the World Cup as we've seen.
For sure. You got to look to the future and all that there. And I still stand by that was the best named team. Bo Darby and Finbar McGregor. What a team name that was. But not only that, some interesting selections all around. Like, Scotland and Australia are just blessed with a wealth of talent. Like, Scotland have to pick a Commonwealth Games team, right, out of Alex Marshall MBE, Paul Foster MBE, Jason Banks, who just cleaned up on the World Bowls Tour last year, Stuarty Anderson, who's an absolute freak, Ian McLean, who just does everything when he goes away.
Yeah.
They've got to pick 2 or 3 out of that group of 5, and that's only naming them group of 5. There's Darren Burnett, there's others outside of that.
Yeah.
There's Kevin Anderson. You just never know. But they've got to pick out of that. And then, obviously Australia, that's just got a depth of talent. They took 10 blokes over there to Scotland in the Test Series. I was sitting with a few Scottish people in the late one night. There was a few excuses around that, so there was, Simon. There wasn't bad any of it.
Yeah. So,
but it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Oh, look, when it comes to Commonwealth Games, they're going to be well prepared. But it'll be interesting to see now that the World Cup's over. We know how the Greens play, and they're going to play well. We know how the format's going to go. 7-end sets for singles, 5-end sets for pairs. It's all just down to those selections now. I dare say I've seen a fair few of what will be selected at the last event. I can tell you who won't be selected, and that's the 6 players of the American team. Because as Alex put his foot in commentary, he sat there with Anne Nunes, and he asked her what her preparation was like for Glasgow next year at the Commonwealth Games. Had to give a bit of a history lesson. Did you hear me get dropped in it?
No, enlighten us.
Watching I think it was the girls' pairs game. Go back and have a listen. Barry turns around and it was Alex, I think, more than anything. Turns around and says, DJ the flag.
Oh, yeah.
So I got dropped in that. Had to give him a little bit of a lesson on that one. So
that's a bit of a political bomb. That one, isn't it?
That's what I said. We don't like to admit it, folks, but it is political. I says, so for those that failed geography at high school, there's an island that you all refer to as Ireland. There's 2 countries on it. Those countries have had a checkered past.
Yeah.
For want of a better word or phrase. One's linked to Great Britain and the United Kingdom, and they share their government and they share their currency. The other one's got their own currency and their own government. They tend to disagree. They tend to get offended by each other's flags. But when it comes to bowls, rugby union, and a few other sports, they all play together. So they use the cross of St. Patrick. So if anyone's listening to bowls now, and you happen to watch any of the World Bowls events, and you see a white flag with a red X through it, that's the cross of St. Patrick. It's a neutral flag, and that's where they use that when it comes to the Irish Bowls. All right, so that's everyone educated on the podcast.
Well done, DJ. Well done. Yeah.
It didn't stop there. Then Barry drops in, what about the anthem? Oh, that's another story. We'll leave that one. But yeah, that's why I had a little bit of education as well, like we'd like to do on our What a Load of Bowls podcast. What else have we got coming up, mate? So down the track, the Nationals are on at the minute. We'll probably cover that next time around. It's only just kicked off. The Juniors, the Para, and the Champions is currently on at the minute. I may have put Ali off. He had a good win on his first night, and then I spoke to him about it, and then it hasn't gone too well today, but we'll talk about it next time. Yeah, I'll probably get the blame on that one. But we've got UBC coming up. Like I just said to you, I've had a chat to Case. I'm going to get in touch with Case. All being well, folks, we'll have an interview with Mark Casey with a lead into the UBC come next podcast.
Nice.
He's got the time of day for us. That'll be an awesome one to get. Especially he'll be our first interviewee as a World Bowls Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be a nice one to get. What else we got coming up? Christmas, really, man. That's about it. Oh, World Bowls series, which is I've just alluded to. I've been invited back to that one too. So if I can work the logistics out there with the boss. Don't mean the boss at work. I mean the boss at home.
Yep.
And I'll hopefully get down there for a week too and get down to Club Barham, have a look around. So, yeah, all happening, mate. It's like I said, it's getting up to that Christmas time, but it certainly isn't quieting down, is it?
Definitely not. Usually it's a bit of a break anyway over here in Australia, and New South Wales is usually a bit of a lull when it comes. But there's always tournaments knocking around. There's always little pairs, triples, fours tournaments in around Christmas, and there's always something if you want to keep your arm moving and keep those bowls coming down the green. You can always find something. But as for the big major events, there's always a bit of a lull, and then we're straight into what would be a new season come sort of end of January, start of February, and that's when bowls sort of kicks off again. So
plenty to look forward to there too. World Bowls Tour have got Potters happening straight away in the new year. We'll have New South Wales Platinum Pennant gearing up in February. You got the World Indoors happening around about April time for the World Bowls thing, which will be held at Ocean Grove. All happening. And as Simon says, tournaments as well. And if you do have a tournament that you'd like us to plug for you and advertise, just email Simon at thebowlsacademy.com.
Absolutely.
We'll do you a good price. So we will.
Yeah.
But yeah, by all means, if we can help promote it, by all means, send it through to that email address to Simon. We'll give it a plug. Shameless plug. Absolutely not a problem at all. And yeah.
Speaking of shameless plug, we have some awesome new apparel designs on the way. We got a sneak preview of some SSA, the Bowls Academy gear, which is coming very, very soon. So excited about that. And shout out to Jeremy at SSA. And yeah, looking forward to what's coming from them.
Big shout out to Jeremy at SSA, because some of those emails you're forwarding through to me are coming in at all hours of the night. And he is working hard. So by all means, folks, look them up. SSA, mention that we've sent you down to them. As you do with all the sponsors, let them know.
And if you're on the lookout for some free content, some coaching content, if you are playing in any of those tournaments coming up, any big championships in your region, check out the Bowls Academy blog. We've got the most recent one there is a scoreboard strategy, smart end management for winning games. So a little bit of a dive into different parts of the game whenever you're ahead, where you're level, when you're behind, how you sort of manage the scoreboard and what kind of shots you would play, reflecting whether you're up, down, or all square on the scoreboard. So check that out at www.thebowlsacademy.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast and pass on to any other bowlers at your club that you think will be interested in listening to DJ dribble on for an hour every fortnight.
That's a board member DJ to you now, Simon. Just before we go, mate, another big thing happening. Ground has been dug at Maitland City.
I did see that. I did see your post. Yeah.
How good.
It looked good. Looked good that green has been dug up, because I've played on that green a few times. Never was that good. So I'm glad to see it's dug up.
You haven't played on that green in 10 years. That's the tournament that you're referring to that, knock me back every Easter. So don't go having a go at my club, mate. You haven't been up here in 10 years.
Mate, your greens were never that good, so I'm glad to see you're getting some good surfaces.
Wow, you're just firing off shots this episode, aren't you?
Going to be some good surfaces, undercover. Looking forward to your facility being built, mate. Looking forward
Very much looking forward to it, and there's a lot of people worldwide who are looking forward to it now too, because I showed it off while I was in KL, which is Kuala Lumpur to you.
Nice.
So let's, I think that'll do us for this episode, Sam. I think we've covered everything. Like I said, we've got a few other things coming up in the next couple of weeks. We'll try and lock in a couple more interviews with a couple of legends, report on a couple of more things, and hopefully maybe even be part of another trip down to a World Bowls event at Club Barham in the not too distant future. So
absolutely.
Yeah, thanks again, mate. Hopefully this outro won't take as many takes as the intro did.
Yep.
So thanks everyone for tuning in. Keep that little disc on the inside.
And good luck on those greens. The views, information, or opinions expressed during What a Load of Bowls podcast episodes are solely those of the individuals involved and do not represent those of any group, organization, or employer associated or affiliated to individuals. This podcast is for general information purposes only, to educate and inform. This podcast does not constitute professional advice or services. What a Load of Bowls does not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of any opinions expressed or statements made within episodes.